Hi, welcome to Spirit Guide Communication through the Art of Divination. My name is Bertina and I'm your host today. Today we're going to talk about angels. Angels have been a part of my spirituality since I was a small child in church, as well as when I began taking on the more spiritual and priestess path. Angels are something that I've always been interested in. I started out with studying with Doreen Virtue. I went through all of her certifications: angel card reader, angel realm reader, angel therapist, and all of that. And I also took her daughter in law and then also her son's classes as an archangel coach, as a angel dream interpreter, and a lot more like that. And then throughout times, I've always been I read angel cards. I do angel healing. I teach Angel Reiki. I have a book on Amazon on Angel Reiki. I teach those classes, and I also have what's called an Angel Reiki and Communication Academy, where it has a lot of the information about what I was talking about and readings and things like that. But the thing is, though, with angels, I think that what's culminated this class that I've begun creating, the 9 levels of angels, or I'm sorry, the 9 choirs of angels, is studying for my metaphysical PhD. I had to do a thesis on a topic, and I chose angels thinking, okay, I know a lot about that because my master's project had to do with angel realm readings. And what that is looking at spiritual realms and what angel you're connected to, or what other realms such as fairies or dragons or things like that. And I have a whole class on that. So if you go to my website, bertina.org, you can find that as well. But I did this PhD and I looked more at angels compared to what we see as aliens. And it just continued kind of down a big rabbit hole. I started looking at the hierarchy and the choirs of angels and specifically who was what. So that's something that I'm wanting to share with you today, is just some of the things that I found during my research, as well as some things that I'm going to talk about in my class and just kind of see if you're interested in that. So let's take a break for just a moment and we will come right back. So we're back. Welcome to Spirit Guide Communication through the Art of Divination. Again, my name is Bertina, and we're talking about angels today. More specifically, we're talking about angelic hierarchies. And when I was doing the research for my my PhD, my dissertation, I found that there were a lot of historical and theological origins to angels. Angel hierarchies have roots in various spiritual traditions, from ancient texts to religious scriptures. The hierarchies categorize angels into 9 distinct choirs, and each one of them have unique attributes and divine responsibilities, from seraphim all the way down to guardian angels, and each one of them has a specific aspect to the divine order. What I found interesting is that even like with the seraphim, they radiate pure love and divine light. You can have Michael as a seraphim, and then he's also an archangel. So you can have angels who are in these hierarchies, multiple hierarchies, and they play different roles. There's the cherubim, the thrones, the dominions, and it goes on and on. But because angels are messengers and guardians and guides throughout history, a lot of times people want to put them into one place. But in reality, no matter what your religion, angels have always been a non-corporeal spiritual being that simply can exist in many places at once. So being a cherubim, being a seraphim, being an archangel is not that big of a deal at all. What we find a lot of times in looking at the choirs of angels is that there's a lot of overlap when it comes to the origins of angels. And a lot of times, those ancient ideas are what has taught us a little bit more about the origins. So it's kind of impossible to definitively identify the origins of angels. There's lots of different theories, there's lots of different interpretations. And the idea of an angel has been present in religious and spiritual beliefs for many cultures around the world for many years. Vikings called them Valkyries, Greeks called them Hore. The city of around the Euphrates River, like 4,000, 5,000 BCE, depicted winged figures who descended from like one of the seven heavens, pouring the weather of life from an overflowing jar, which is basically water. But in my research, my thesis, and my trainings, most of it does come from the Christian Bible because it is a source of knowledge that most of us have. So that's kind of what happens is that according to the Holy Bible, God created angels as part of his heavenly court. And then the angelic beings were charged with doing God's will on earth, and they were sent to serve as messengers between heaven and earth. And a lot of times you'll see their role, especially in the Christian idea, as well as most Abrahamic traditions, which is Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. They were believed to be teachers, protectors, and healers, and a lot of times they had an idea of divine light and even wings. But in my research for my PhD, it talked about how that divine light could even be just the idea of the glowing of the heavens or space or things like that. So there's a lot of different ideas of what goes on and where the angels come from. They are, as I said, seen as servants, messengers. They are not seen equal as humans, but that they are very much warriors and protectors. In Greek mythology, a lot of the angels were known as daimons, Daimons, and were either like good or bad spirits sent by the gods. And these kind of went into battle and helped the humans, just like in Hinduism, angels were devas, and they were supernatural entities that help protect and guide humans as well. So overall, whenever we talk about angels, we talk about people that are spiritual messengers or beings that are spiritual messengers. Let's correct that. Humans are not angels. Angels are not humans. Different species. I'm sorry about that confusion there. And a lot of people get confused with that. But the idea is that angels are totally separate beings. They are the messengers of divine forces. When we look at the hierarchies, we look at the pseudo-Dionysus rank of angels, which is the most accepted in the Abrahamic faith. And this kind of rank of angels helps look at like what Thomas Aquinas talked about in the hierarchy system, and then how the hierarchy is used today. So one of the things too, Harold Remington wrote in his book, The Doctrine of Angels, that in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and the earth was out form and void, and the darkness was out the face of the deep. And the heavens and the earth were finished with all the host of them. Angels, like man, were created by a special act of heaven. They did not evolve into being. And that they have their number, once completed at creation, is forever fixed. So they will never die. They will never reproduce or anything like that. And then that reproduction gets into a whole nother idea about the procreation of angels with humans and Nephilims, but that's for another day. But they cannot die, and the original number will never increase or decrease in size. So what they usually do is that most people will look at the multitude of angels. And because there are so many, churches really did not keep up with a lot of them other than Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, Ariel, Seraphim, Sandalphon, I'm sorry, and Metatron, and a few of those, kind of like the top 13 or 14 archangels. But really, they don't get into the hierarchy of angels too much. The hierarchy of angels is pretty much, like I said before, it's based on the pseudo Dionysus rank of angels that's accepted by the church. And it just ranks them from the ones closest to God or the heavens. And of course, Seraphim is the first one. They're considered pure light. They're full of fire. They're said to have 6 wings. They are said to be closest to God and are the ones that are most trusted messenger. Now, if you look at the original scriptures, Lucifer was a seraphim before the great fall. He was part of light. So it goes on and on and on talking about the different ideas of each one of them. In my class, I kind of give you an idea of who was part of that uh, hierarchy and what they did, just like the cherubim. They're pure love. They're not the cute little babies, chubby babies that everybody think that they are. If you look at the description of any of the scriptures, they're portrayed as having 4 faces, 4 wings, 2 sets of hands, and they appear in the books of like Ezekiel and Genesis, and they're described as being incredibly beautiful but scary, and that these were the angels that God left to escort Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden and to stand at the entrance. Now, those are usually Gabriel, Cherubiel, Ophanal, Raphael, Zophiel, and those. But then if you go into, I think it's the Mormon religion, they believe that Michael is the one who did the escorting and protecting of the Garden of Eden. That's according to one of my friends who is Mormon. I am not an expert on that, but I think she also stated that they have the belief that Michael and Adam are the same person. So I'm not sure about that. That's something we can check into a little bit more. And then the third of the highest triad of archangels are thrones, and they are the chariots. They're probably my favorite because they're depicted with having many, many eyes. And they are also known as Ophanim, and a lot of times they look like wheels and they have different eyes, and they are considered God's chariots. This is where in my my PhD dissertation we were talking about UFOs. There were the appearance of this chariot that was round and circular and continued to circle and circle and circle in the heavens, and there were people sitting in it and there were eyes looking at them. That kind of became throughout time the idea of a UFO or unidentified flying object or unidentified aerial phenomenon, whatever you want to say. So a lot of times these thrones and cherubim are confused a lot of. So whenever you look at the angels, you're going to notice that there's a lot of overlap, there's a lot of inconsistency, there's a lot of conflicting ideas, and it really just depends upon who it is that you are reading, what belief system you have, and are you open to various interpretations. And to quickly kind of go through a little bit more of the other hierarchies, there's the virtues, which are the watchers of the sun, moon, stars, universe, and planets. The powers, which purify the earth from lower energies, they are the protectors of earth. They're pretty cool. There's principalities, which are the ones who help with talking to our rulers of our planet and trying to say, let's avoid war, let's look at different things. And it's supposed to protect religion on this planet. Now we can get into a discussion about that at a later time, but the principalities is a really interesting hierarchy of angels. Then there's the archangels, and those are the ones that most people know. They are the ones that appear in the books of Daniel and in Revelations, and they're described as full of eyes. They're the chief rulers of heavenly realms. They are to believe to be the highest order of angels. So a lot of them are also seraphim. The ones that we look at the most is Archangel Michael, who seems to be the leader of these angels. Gabriel's the messenger, Raphael's the healer, Uriel's wisdom, Jophiel's beauty, and it goes on and on. I really like Metatron, who writes in the book of life with the Akashic Records, and Sandalphon, who does music. Azrael is another one of my favorites. He is the Archangel of Death, and he helps guide us to the new place. He helps bring our family members to us so that when we cross over, we're not alone. And then the Guardian Angels is the final type, and these are the ones that is the belief that most people are born with two guardian angels, and then throughout time they change from one to the other because, well, when you're a baby, you need one type of guardian angel. When you're a teenager or older, you need a different one. It keeps going on and on. But either way, in the Abrahamic traditions, angels are seen as powerful spiritual beings that can serve as messengers of God. They're guardians of the heavenly realms. They are healers, they are protectors, they are voices. And in just a moment, when we come back, I'll go over a couple of ways that I work with angels and how you can learn more about that. Welcome back to Spirit Guide Communication through the Art of Divination. And today we're talking about angels. Again, my name is Bertina and I'm your host. And I'm what's known as an angelologist. I have spent a lot of time studying angels. As I've said before, through Doreen Virtue, through Charles Virtue, Melissa Virtue. And I've looked, and Radley Valentine, let's not forget the sweet soul. I forget him sometimes. I've become a certified angel therapist, Reiki master, card reader, realm reader, communicator, healer, and all of that. And I love working with angels. I love bringing their healing energy, their divine messages into your life. And I love connecting with these celestial beings. I feel like that their wisdom and guidance is very powerful. They help with healing and clarity, and they are just powerful. I don't know how else to explain it until you feel it. They can really help deepen your connection with the angelic realm if you're wanting to learn more about that. They can help you with your spiritual path. This is the thing. Each person has at least 2 guardian angels. You have between 5 and 7 spirit guides with you, assigned to you, depending upon where you are in life. And most people who are still trying to find their spiritual path or are still connected a lot and want to incorporate their spiritual path, the religious path that they grew up with, will want to work with angels. So there's a couple of things that you can do in regards to learning more about angels. I have a lot of self-paced online classes that you can look into at bertina.org, bertena.org, and I can put that information down in for Spotify and everything. But if you just go there and you click on the Angel Reiki and Communication Academy, it will take you to all the things. I teach online Angel Reiki master classes. I have an Angel Reiki book that is on Amazon. It's my bestseller. I sell about a book a day without even promoting. I am in the process of creating a new Angel Reiki master book, so look for that. I do one-on-one, in-person, and distant Meet Your Guardian Angel meditation classes, Meet Your Archangel meditation classes. I do Angel Reiki, Angel Healing, spiritual coaching, chakra balancing, all of those. They can be done in person or on Zoom or anything that you like. Also do card readings, angel communication, past life readings, and those are done distantly or in person as well. And those do really good because if you're uncomfortable with basic tarot cards, oracle cards, and I'm using angel cards. It really kind of helps soften the direction, soften what you're seeing, and kind of help you just be open a little bit more to the message. I do use Doreen Virtue's cards. I have all of hers before she left the business. And then I also have Melissa's Angel Dream cards, some of Radley's cards. They're all beautiful. And the card readings usually do help guide you and help you receive messages from where you should be going. A lot of times people just really want to know that they are on the right path. And so incorporating any of this, taking the Choirs of Angel self-paced class, it's $44 plus tax. Um, you just work at it at your own pace. You learn about the angels. And then if you want to take the Angel Reiki class, you already have a foundation and you can go from there and you can create and work with angels your own self. And that's the thing, is that we work with them. We do not control them. We ask them to come and help. And I teach you in those classes how to work with Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Those are my favorite ones. I also have a couple of like email type interpretation reports that I provide. Angel astrology, knowing which angels are associated with their astrological sign, which one were with you when you were born, and which one are with you with your life path. And then also dream interpretation reports with angels, just to help you with spiritual growth. Because a lot of times angels will come to you in your dreams. We talked about the different levels and kind of the hierarchies. And if you notice, none of them sounded really pretty. They were a little scary. They've got a lot of eyes. They've got a lot of wings. And really, most people who experience angels do so by seeing light or feathers. They may see them in their sleep. They may just feel them. So if you are clairvoyant, you may see light. You may see just signs like feathers or different symbols, music. You may hear for clairaudient. You may hear a ringing in your ears sometimes and then a message afterwards. Sometimes you may just know, you feel them there. You feel their comfort. There was a time when I was having a really, really, really rough time, really bad time. And I called in the angels, and you just feel when you have a really rough time, you just feel so hollow and alone. Yeah, and I don't know, I just felt a warmth, I felt a hug, I felt protected, and I just heard, it's going to be okay. And it was okay, and it is okay. And it is one of the reasons why I really started looking into angels. I feel like that they are around us all the time. I feel like that they are part of who we are all the time. And connecting with angels are pretty simple. Just be mindful of what's around you. Ask them to come in. Meditation, which does not necessarily mean sitting there in a meditative stance and just go, Om. You can be out walking in the garden, walking in the forest, and you'll come across angels. In your mind's eye, in front of you, you may feel, see, or hear. Just open yourself up to it. Just be mindful. Prayer, meditation, awareness, simply inviting them in. But whenever you seek guidance from angels, they usually bring comfort, wisdom, and spiritual clarity. And I will say that if anything says something to you that is not kind, that is not positive, now they may look at you and go, okay, your direction should be here. Angels don't have the emotions like if you hear someone goes, okay, this is going to really hurt you, you need to go this direction. Instead, a lot of times those are ascended masters, maybe your ancestors. They have a lot of emotions in their conversations and guidance with you. Angels do not. They basically are pretty straightforward. That's why I like them, because they'll just say, this is the direction that you're told to go. It's like, behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, and you're going to have a baby. And that's kind of one of the things with angels, is that they are very clear in your spiritual path. But the spiritual realm is within us and all around us. To simply embrace the divine presence of angels, seek guidance, let the harmonies of angels, all the different choirs, walk with you. They're a source of boundless love, guidance, spiritual enlightenment. They are mysterious, and it's lots and lots of fun. So, if you have any questions about angels, you can email me at bertina@bertina.org. That's BERTENA. You can pick up my Angel Reiki book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. You can sign up for some of my classes. You just go to my website and go to the Angel Academy, and it will have a drop-down bar. And those are the 3 classes that I offer, which are the 9 Choirs of Angels, Angel Reiki Master Certification course, and then the Fairy Master Reiki and Elemental Healing. And the reason why fairies are there are because fairies are considered earth angels. They are elemental beings. Angels are air. Dragons are fire. Mermaids are water. And those are some of the things that we talk about in the fairy realm class. And then if you just click on the actual Angel Reiki and Communication tab, it takes you to all my services. But just take a few moments each morning if you want to connect with your angels. Maybe buy a deck of angel oracle cards. I suggest those more than tarot cards, because tarot cards they tell a story and you have to use multiple ones. And then also people get really funny about the word tarot. So if you're still kind of on the fence, looking at some of the guardian angel oracle, archangel oracle, angel message oracles, things like that, angel therapy oracle cards. And what you'll do is just simply pull one card. Look and see what it is that is pulling you to it. What is the first thing you see? What is the first thing you hear? What is the first thing you feel? Jot down some of that information. And then just begin to look at the picture. Now, if you want to read the book or the message in the book, that's fine. But make sure that you really focus on what it has to do with you in your life that day. And then in the evening, come back and review what you wrote and see how it relates to what happened. And it's really good because it begins to allow you to be mindful of what your actions are, what your path is, who's around you, what you see or hear. And then the more you connect with those cards, the more you'll connect with angels. Angels love candles, by the way. So having a candle sitting out while you're doing this attracts them. Beautiful music, all the wonderful things. But for now, I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. Take a few moments to check out all of my wonderful things that I offer. And again, always email me. It may take me about a day to respond, but I try my best to answer any questions that I can. And I love talking about angels. So if you have any questions, email me. Otherwise, I hope to see you again at the podcast. Have a good day.